Welcome, everyone. So, today we are talking about driving client retention through marketing automation. And here's a little preview of our agenda. So, these are the things that we're going to cover today, Joel and I. We'll talk a little bit about the client life cycle and how that impacts the client journey and your agency growth. We'll talk about 4 elements of client retention and actually give you suggested journeys to take your clients through each of those 4 elements. We'll talk a little bit about the power of smart automation. There'll be a demo in there so you get to see some cool stuff live. And then we'll get into your questions and an open discussion.
I have an agenda add-on. I have an agenda
Yes. What
add-on.
is it? What is it?
I'm going to lay claim to a gift for everybody
Okay.
on here. And particularly if you're an existing client, you're going to be super excited about this gift. And I'm going to claim it as mine, even though I really had nothing to do with it other than suggesting it for you here. But I'll claim it as mine. That's okay. If you're not a client, it's going to give you great reasons why you're going to want to be a client, but you got to stay till the end. That's the way gifts work.
Awesome.
So add that
Okay.
to don't let me forget Joel's gift.
Joel's gift.
Now
Clear
we
your
can go.
schedules, everyone.
Clear
We
your
gotta we gotta
schedules.
stay till the end. All right. So a little bit about who we are as your webinar host. I'm Monika Baraket. I am VP of Operations and I handle client and marketing operations here at Agency Revolution. So my team, will onboard you if you work with us, and then we'll support you throughout your entire journey with us. I'm sure many of you know a lot of my team members by name. They're a fabulous group of people. This is me on vacation in Hilton Head, North Carolina. Sorry, South Carolina. My goodness, I got my states wrong. In Hilton Head, South Carolina, with my son Matt. He's in college right now. Actually, he's in Costa Rica right now on a little work study program, but is a junior in college currently. So that's him and I hanging out on a little mini catamaran. Those were super fun, by the way.
Awesome. Super fun.
Joel, tell
Well,
us a little
that's
bit about
me.
yourself.
And I got this title, The Insurance Evangelist. And I think the reason I get to wear that title is I've lived it. And so, if you've heard my story before, I was an independent insurance agent. I was introduced to the insurance world because I was a struggling golf professional, and someone offered me a job and they included the word salary. And I was like, okay, maybe I could pay my mortgage. And so I took that job, and as a CSR, and quite simply, I was asked, "Well, how do you do this job as insurance?" And someone threw a phone book at me and said, "Start dialing." And so I did. Very fortunate. Shortly after that, I was introduced to a little company called Agency Revolution. And so that's where my relationship with this company started. I was a proud client for 9.5 years. And when my time at the agency, it was time to part ways. It was really a no-brainer when the owner of Agency Revolution connected with me and offered me an opportunity. And I said, absolutely. And so I like to say that I have had a life-changing relationship with this company for nearly 20 years now. And so I sit on this side of the street now, but I've sat in your seats and lived it. And so anything that I share with it, it's certainly come not from a slide deck, from personal experience. And this is a picture of my wife and myself and our middle son, Gage, and the rest of the kids, I don't know where they are somewheres, but this was also in vacation in Drumheller in Alberta. So,
The
anywho,
rest of the kids, they don't get a spotlight. The rest of the
they
kids.
don't get a picture.
No,
I don't have
no,
authorization to use them. You get how
no.
older kids will do that.
And
So
by the way, we like Joel enough because, he's in Canada and we still keep him around.
it's
So,
okay.
we like him. We like the guy. All right, Joel. So thanks for that great intro. So why don't you lead into what we do in terms of our product suite? And this is going to be a short and sweet little setup for you, but just to give you an idea of who we are and what we do.
Yeah, it is. It is really short and sweet. Actually, we could probably talk for 3 hours about this slide. But the reality is for 25 plus years, if you're not familiar with us, we work exclusively with independent insurance agencies, and our solutions really run the gamut. Everything from your digital presence, digital strategy, our industry-leading Forge website solution, to communication, marketing, and process automation with our Fuse automation solution. One thing that we realize, whether it's digital, online, to your website, to Fuse, is your clients want and expect to hear more from you. You must have learned that in the last year, if nothing else, that they want and expect to hear more from you. We know that you don't have time. Nobody has time to actually do that. And then you add in the asterisks, which is going to be a big part of what we talk about today. People do not want your junk. People aren't interested in your junk. People want things that are relevant and timely and personalized for them. And that's what we're all about. So whether it is your website, social, or communication, that's what we're here to do. So That's a little synopsis of what we're all about, Monica.
Yeah, thank you. That was great. So let's get right into it. The first thing we're going to do is go through a client lifecycle review and just kind of talk about the significance of retention on the client lifecycle. Before we get into the visual for you, just a quick word on the challenge that we see most insurance agencies face is maintaining high retention rates. That is a challenge. And it kind of comes down to when we sat back and sort of evaluated the components of that challenge, we saw, there's inconsistent communication, there's time consuming processes, there's client neglect, there's flat retention rates. Those were kind of like the four main components of that contributed to this challenge. Joel, you had some thoughts on this.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think retention is a big conversation, and I think these are all accurate. But I also think that the vast majority of agencies are either a not calculating retention, or calculating it incorrect, or calculating the wrong aspect of it. So I'll talk to a lot of agencies and they'll say they're calculating retention at a premium level or commission level, which is absolutely incorrect. I mean, sure, it might be worthwhile to understand that number, but we've just gone through a hard market, and we're still in it to a certain extent. If you're calculating based on premium and revenue, you best have 100% plus retention. So if you're coming to me, we have a premium retention of 95%. Well, congratulations. That's actually terrible because you just had everybody increase everything on you. And so that is wrong. You need to be calculating retention based on a client count. You could sell me on a policy count. Okay, either one, if the one's maybe easier to calculate, but you should be looking at a time period of how many clients you had at the start, how many new people you brought in over that time, and then divide it by the overall number, and you can get you'll get a proper retention number, and that's really what you should be calculating. And once again, I'll reiterate that should absolutely be calculated based on either a client or account level or a policy level. Nothing to do with commissions or premium levels if you want a true accounting of retention.
Awesome. So now actually that leads us into a quick poll that I'm going to launch right now. And if you don't know these numbers, that's totally fine. But what is the client retention rate for your agency? If you know it, just pick an option. We will end the poll in a few, 30 seconds to a minute. Just kind of see where you all stand or think you stand. A little bit more. We've got almost everyone, about 60, 70% there. Give it a few more seconds. It looks like 91 to 95% is the leader, right? I'm going to end the poll now. That's what won it, 91 to 95%, followed by I'm not sure. So that's, that I get it. All right. So
And I'm
move
not
on.
sure is a great answer.
It is. Yeah.
And I think that that's an honest answer. And I like it. And it's something that you should certainly look into, but acknowledgement and understanding is
Yeah.
absolutely critical. And I believe the industry average still actually resides in around that 85-86% range. FYI, I don't have the exact number off the top of my
Yep.
head, but it's in that range.
Yeah. And I agree with Joel. I don't know is a very acceptable answer because it's a starting point, right? You need to identify what you know, what you don't know, and then how you're going to get to whatever goal you need to set. So now let's look at the client lifecycle and just kind of understand the client journey from the customer's point of view. A little visual for you just to kind of make it make sense. So, as any potential customer goes through the client lifecycle, they start at the beginning. They start at becoming aware that your agency exists, whether that is because they were referred by one of your clients or, they found you through a Google search or something along those lines, or maybe they met you at at an event or local event or something like that. They're becoming aware of your agency. Then they go into the consideration phase where they're evaluating your agency. What are your Google reviews? Do you have a reputable website that kind of tells them your story, what you do, how you can help them? What is your reputation like out there? Do you have the products or services that they're looking for? So that consideration phase is really important. And it's kind of, where really you need to take assessment of how you're presenting your agency to the world, whether it's through your website or through your online reviews or different directory listings. You need to make sure that that's solid because it could be the first impression that that client is focusing on of you. Then they go into a conversion. This is where, they call your agency, they email your agency, and they buy a policy from you. And then that's when the real work starts, right? So this entire retention section is what we're talking about today. But that's when you really have to start paying attention to the experience that you're creating for that new client that you just converted. Are you nurturing them to make sure that they know that you care about them, that you're thinking about them, that you're there for them? And are you giving them a reason to become a loyal client so that they can become your advocate and continue to send you more business and kind of put them through that cycle, because they're sending you referrals. Keynote here, remember during that experience phase, right? This is when you're onboarding the client. This is how you're handling claim situations for them. One bad experience can lose that client, right? So you really need to focus on this piece and make sure that you have a really good strategy for this experience piece, because one bad experience can really damper the whole thing. All of this leads to growth, agency growth.
Yeah. One thing I'd like to add there, Monica, just on this
Yes.
graphic, and one thing that's I can understand the confusion on my part. I think, even though if I understand it, I shouldn't be confused because I was there. I think the sexiest part of this job of this industry is those front three circles. Like that's what we get all excited about. Is how do we get the next prospect to raise their hand? How do we get that next big client? How do we get that next person to come and so we can they can give us some consideration and conversion? And it is absolutely amazing the investments agencies will make out in that, right? It is like, oh yeah, I can promise you 15 new leads. Great, write me a check. It's so quick that people will do that. Yet the reason you open your doors every day is because that retention wheel turns, right? That's why your business stays open every day. And it's shocking to me how few agencies will actually put real investment into a true retention strategy outside of we provide great customer service, which I don't believe is a retention strategy. I think that's just an accepted norm, right? Of course you do. Of course that you can call virtually any independent insurance agency in the country or countries, and I would be shocked if one of them said, "We provide crappy service. You should join us anyway." They all say, everybody's going to say, "We provide outstanding customer service." That's not why people will choose you. People will choose your agency for two reasons, and it is your expertise and the relationship you provide. And that is where that wheel can turn. And that's what we're talking about today. It's how do we get that relationship solidified? How do we share that expertise across hundreds, if not thousands of clients at one time without sending garbage?
Yeah, I agree, Joel. And you could be providing excellent service, or you think you are too, because there's, that is important, but you may think you're doing it, but if you're not measuring it, and if you're not actually approaching it from the client's perspective, you might be missing an entire, loop of feedback, on things that are just not working or that are creating churn at your agency that you're not aware of. So it's just, your perception of the type of service that you're providing to your clients is very different sometimes than the reality and then their perception of how they're receiving it, and whether they're receiving what they need from you
Absolutely.
as the agency. All right, so let's talk about the solution, which is what we're going to focus on a lot today as we talk about this retention piece, and that's delivering personalized experiences at every stage of the client journey through smart automation. So we're going to talk about, the importance of communicating proactively, the importance of selling value over price, the importance of capitalizing on opportunities, on cross-sell opportunities, and nurturing those client relationships. And this is just a quick little stat. I like to infuse those in here just to sort of set the point. Brands that improve the client journey see revenue growth of 10 to 15% and cost reductions of 15 to 20. That's the CEO of ThinkJar, Esteban Kalski, who talks a lot about retention across industries, really. So 4 elements of retention: streamline your client marketing efforts. This is where we're talking retention and smart automation, and that's when it kind of feeds into streamlining it and making it feasible for your agency. But before we get into that, let's ask another poll. So let's talk about client onboarding. Does your agency have a robust client onboarding journey for new clients?
And
You'll
while
see some
people are
options in there.
while people are answering here quickly, I'll just share. I love this, and this is one of those things I think every agency I've ever talked to is like, yes, we should be doing that, yet often gets forgotten. It's like the first thing to go on the "I'll get it later" shelf. When someone's walking into your office because they've had a claim or they need to change and they need a quote. And so this is a great opportunity to use smart automation, but I don't know any agency or any producer or anybody within the agency doesn't think, yeah, we should probably welcome our new clients and onboard them and point them in the right direction.
Yep. So I'm going to end the poll. If you want to vote one, just I'll give you a few more seconds, and then we'll end the poll in about 2 seconds. But it looks like we welcome clients to the agency, but we don't have an onboarding journey. Is the leader here, which is perfectly fine because we're going to show you a suggested client journey that you could take your clients through in order to solve for that need that you have. All right. So and once again, agencies that actively engage with their clients through proactive communication see an average increase in retention rates by 5%. This is really important because, again, that's going to contribute to the growth of your agency. And, Joel has that surprise for us. I don't know. Maybe it's tied to that. I'm not sure. Okay, so 4 elements of retention. Number one, improve the client experience. Loyal customers stay longer and they refer business to you. It is really critical that you kick off the relationship on the right note, that you set the right expectations, that you wow and delight your clients, that you communicate with them proactively. So in this element, improving client experience, the suggested journey is to make sure that you have a client onboarding campaign to welcome clients and set expectations. This isn't just one email saying, "Hey, welcome," or a packet with their, insurance policy. We're talking about taking them on a full journey, which is pictured here. So this is just an example of a client onboarding journey for a personal lines client. And as you could see, there's several different pieces of communication that are going out over the course of 6 months in order to onboard that client and set those expectations and let them know how your agency will work with them and how they can work with your agency.
Mission critical here, Monica, is really quite simple. Whether it's personal lines or commercial lines, is just that. I think many agencies rely on the fact that they're getting their policy packet or whatever have you, either digitally or likely online or even in the mail, but it's coming from a carrier that may or may not have your logo on it. And of course, we love our carriers and the partnerships, but you need to build your brand because that is the power. The power of independent is the power of choice, and letting them know that if while things may you're their advocate, and while things may sour with that particular carrier or maybe going real well, there are other options. And so to solidify your relationship with them is absolutely critical, that you really stay in front of that client 3 to 4 times before they ever receive anything from someone else.
Yeah, absolutely. And it doesn't stop at just onboarding them, right? You want to make sure that you're there for them when there's a claims event. So you need to have a claims follow-up campaign in order to provide support and direction during a claim event. You should have an account review campaign on an annual basis to make sure that they have the right policies. Has anything changed? What changed? How did it change? So these are the 3 core pieces of improving your client experience. If you put all 3 of these into motion, you onboard your clients, using several touch points over time. You are there for them during a claims event, and you actually show them that you care and that you're their advocate in that situation. And you reach out to them regularly during an annual account review. Those are 3 critical components that are going to create that improved client experience for your agency. All right, keep clients longer is the second element. So obviously clients with more policies, who like doing business with you, have a positive sentiment about your agency, are going to stay with you longer. The suggested journey here is, let's talk about an account rounding campaign so that you can close gaps in coverage. And that's what we have highlighted here. So this is a cross sell of commercial to cyber. There's a target audience in play here. And as you could see, there's several pieces of communication that are going out over a certain period of time in order to handle that cross sell of commercial to cyber. So rounding those accounts, really important. NPS survey campaign. So find out how your clients actually feel about your agency. Would they recommend you to others? Really important here because, again, this can either prove that yes, you are doing all the right things and you're creating that great experience for your clients, or it may show you that there's some gaps in the experience that you're providing that you may want to, correct or pay some attention to. And finally, lost client campaigns. Obviously you want to keep your clients for as long as possible, but sometimes you do lose them. That doesn't mean you should give up on them because you don't know wherever they're going next. It may not be a great experience. So if you continue to show them that affection and that attention, they may be coming back to you.
Two quick notes there on that, Monica. I think NPS. I think everybody gets all excited. Oh, more Google reviews, more Google reviews. Yes, they're great. We want them. Call me a sick puppy, but I think the greatest opportunity any agency has is actually in the detractors of NPS. These are the people that said there's something wrong. Some of them might just be people that you want to refer to your favorite neighborhood competitor, but there are people in there that have legitimate beef. Monica talked earlier about perception. I always say perception is reality. Right.
Yep.
And so understanding someone's perception of what's going on, maybe it was a claim situation that you want to communicate that with the carrier, understanding and communicating with those people that aren't in love can be hugely, because while promoters of your agency do their thing, they leave Google reviews, they refer more, they buy more, they stay longer. You convert someone from a detractor to a promoter and just turn them loose, and no, they really turn into raving fans. Lost client winbacks, just do this, please. The reality is people leave. I think as a former agent myself, I always say, good, I didn't want him anyway. That's kind of the belief that every person that leaves me is someone that I don't want, which is dangerously untrue. 10% of people that do leave are in fact people you do not want to do business with, but 90% are truly people that you want to have back. And so automating that process can really be huge for your agency.
Yeah, really great points. Joel, I agree on the NPS stuff. We actually at Agency Revolution, we run an NPS campaign for all of our clients. I believe it runs every 6 months. And we address every passive and detractor feedback. We read it, we look at it from executive level down. We reach out to those clients to see how we can help. Is there anything that, what could we have done better? What led you to provide this feedback? Because some of it is just it could be they just give us a numeric score and they don't give any feedback. So we don't know what happened. Some of them give us great details, but we pay very close attention to all of that feedback. We make that outreach effort to see how we can change their mind, how we can turn that experience around. And you're right, Joel, they become some of the most loyal, happy customers because they now see that it's not just a survey that we're sending out. Like we actually want to hear what we can improve on. Very
Absolutely.
important. Yeah. All right, we're going to keep it rolling. I see a few questions, and we can get to those in a little bit at the end of this segment. So number 3 of the 4 elements of retention, stay top of mind. Really important. You know, not everyone may need what you want to talk to them about or what you want to spotlight for them at the moment that you're doing it. So you have to continue to nurture that relationship because you never know when the right time for them will be to buy a policy, to buy an additional policy, to refer someone to you, whatever the situation may be. So you need to make sure that you have a good communication strategy where you're reaching out to them consistently, but with valuable content. It builds trust and it positions your agency as the go-to resource so that they think of you whenever that moment happens for them. So in this case, the suggested journey for you is monthly newsletters. Just keep your clients and prospects engaged in what's going on at your agency, but just try to keep it genuine, and kind of real and focus on your agency. No, but like, insurance information all the time can be a little bit too much, right? So you want to give them something else that they can look at or review or read, just something that's not going to be the same old boring content. Holiday and birthday greetings, show them that you care about them, right? Let them know, happy birthday, or wish them happy holidays or whatever. Doing those things, even though sometimes, maybe not everybody reads them, just knowing that the company that you're working with knows to send that out to you or is getting that communication out to you is probably more important than the actual message itself there. And timely content. So informing clients of major events as they happen. And this is the one that I'm highlighting here is a timely piece of content for the Los Angeles fires, which our team put together immediately as soon as that event occurred, because we knew that our clients would likely in California and around would likely need this content to send out to their client base. So, you know, whatever you're using, but just being there when things happen and addressing them immediately with that timely content is really important.
In all due respect to that piece that you just shared, which is absolutely on point and correct, for in my opinion, and I think strategy, staying top of mind, this is the relationship piece. This
Yeah.
isn't the cross sell, here's more information, buy something else from me now. This is where you can really solidify the relationship with somebody. The birthdays, the monthly newsletters. Someone's always got, you work in an agency, someone's got a new baby, a new niece, new nephew, new grandchild, new puppy, new, your pillars of your community, something's going on, someone's volunteering, somebody's got someone doing something. Share those things. This is people care about you, you care about them, and really to solidify the relationship, this is the opportunity to really do that and where you should focus. I'd also like to draw a point that I think when a lot of people see all this, it's like, this is overwhelming my clients. This is too much. And so the first thing I want to say on the one side is please poke the bear. Do not poke the bear. Poke the bear. Okay, poke the bear as much as possible.
I
And
love
if
that you use that. I love that you use that
yeah,
statement, Joel. Poke the
poke the
bear.
bear, poke the bear. People say, well, the more I communicate that this is going to trigger them to maybe go shop somewhere else. Listen, if you think a timely piece of communication from you is the thing that's going to drive them to look for insurance elsewhere, you're sadly mistaken. It's probably one of the 15,000 other impressions they get on their way to work. So that's one thing. Poke the bear. On the flip side, if you tally this up, like Monika's showing some newsletters, some holiday, if you and some other things, you're talking about 9 to 12, maybe 15 pieces of communication over the course of a year is not overwhelming anybody. You're talking once a month, maybe once every 2 or 3 weeks. Valuable, relevant, timely piece of communication is not overwhelming anybody. And I saw there was a question about how do you get high open rates and high engagement. We'll touch more on that, but this is relevant, timely, personalized pieces of communication is how you get into people's lives and get open rates and engagement.
Yeah, I agree. And the more that you can incorporate, people, just the human side of your agency into that communication, as Joel mentioned, the better. Using imagery really, really makes a difference. So like if you had a team event at your agency, take a photo, do a little write-up about it, in your newsletter, share some pictures from that event. We had a summer summit here at Agency Revolution in July, and we took photos. We did a whole blog article about it, spotlighting a bunch of different, pictures from the event. That was the email with the best open rate, the best click-through rate, the most traffic, the page with the most traffic on our website, because people want to see that stuff. It's fun, it makes you feel good. You get to know the people at our company. That stuff works. So, all right. Last element, sell more policies. And this is really, we're kind of approaching this from the retention side of things. So when we're saying sell more policies, it is part of retention, because as you manage that online reputation, as you request referrals from those happy customers, as you nurture them and that relationship, usually that will end up in either a referral to your agency or additional policies being purchased, as you kind of build that relationship. So this is the suggested journey to kind of turn retention into a growth strategy for your agency. Setting up referral campaigns to generate word of mouth referrals from your top clients, testimonial requests to increase your positive online reviews, and quote follow-up campaigns to get your team in front of prospects as soon as they request a quote. So that timely response is really important. You don't know how many times I fill out online quote forms and then hear nothing back. That's got to be a very frustrating experience. And it's just a really bad first impression. And on the right-hand side, you'll just see a sample of one of our testimonial request emails from one of our campaigns. Joel, anything to add here?
No, testimonial requests. I think that's a lost art. In this, I think we always go for the Google review, but testimonials are something you can continue to use in other marketing, in your email signature, on other marketing or whatever have you. And so I would say yes, you want that Google review, of course, but getting someone to put in, I know one of my most successful yet I got a little flack from it, was a really powerful testimonial I once got from a client. And I used that in marketing for years, and it really paid dividends. And so whether it was in print, digital, on the website, social, do not underestimate the power of a really quality testimonial that they can use everywhere.
Yeah, and that testimonial can turn into a case study. So, for
Oh,
example, if you've got commercial clients, and you're trying to maybe, expand your commercial trucking, insurance business, maybe that testimonial turns into a case study, and you could use that case study to get more clients within that industry and kind of expand that way. So, really, I
absolutely.
think they are very important. So, Joel, do you want to get into now how to get your emails open? I know you have a really cool story
Yeah, yeah,
about that.
yeah. And so I listen. If you want high open rates and high engagement, which we maintain the best in the industry, but really there's four key factors that go into high open rates and high engagement in email. Number one, it needs to be relevant. And so you need to segment, yes, you can blast out the happy holidays or, these types of things, but as much as possible, you want to get targeted and relevant with your communication, excuse me. Number two, it needs to be timely. So having that timed properly, whether it's with a renewal or a time of year or an event, it's absolutely critical. There's nothing worse than a happy birthday 3 days after your birthday. So it needs to be a timely piece of communication. Number three, high open rates and high engagement need to come from someone they trust. And so while any agency and every agency has a brand, people build relationships with people. So ensuring communications come from actual people that they're maybe actively working with or have a relationship with is rather critical. So you need that. And finally, communication needs to be personalized. And so the ability to mail merge multiple different fields, and so keeping it, whether it's policy, just high level policy information, someone's birthday, the town they live in, whatever have you, into a piece of communication is really going to drive up high open rates and high engagement, which really has nothing to do with my open story, because I maintain, and I feel free, anybody that's on this call or watching this in the future, I think I have I mistakenly, by accident, created the greatest engaging email of all time. And
I
so
love this story.
I was an Agency Revolution client. I was so excited to have Agency Revolution that the first thing I wanted to do when I got my paws on it was to send out a piece of communication to all of our clients. And so I typed it up and I proofread it. And then I clicked send on this email. And for the record, this is some time ago when you had to click save several times to save changes, which you don't have to do anymore, which is nice. But I sent out this email and I was so proud of myself that I just emailed all like 26,000 clients with emails that we had at that time. And so about a minute or two later, I get a phone call from one of our other locations, a lovely lady by the name of Mary. And she goes, "Hey, Joel, how many people just send that email to?" And I said, "All of them. Isn't it awesome?" She said, "Did you read it?" I was like, "Yeah, why?" She's like, "You need to read it again." So shortly thereafter, one came into my inbox because, of course, I was a client, and I had spelled everything, including my own name, wrong in this email. It was terrible. It was terrible. And so I quickly, I was like, "Oh my goodness, what am I going to do?" I went back into Agency Revolution. I cloned the email and just changed the subject line to "I can't spell," and then added a line, "Hey, listen, I obviously you just got an email from us here where I have spelt everything, including my own name, wrong. So reply back to this email with a count of how many spelling and grammatical errors that you have, and at the end of the week, we're going to do a draw for a company swag pack, hat, shirt, whatever have you. Appreciate your time." And I click send and went off. 24 hours later, in excess of 2,000 responses to that email came in that ranged everything from "This is great. Glad to hear this email comes from a real person. You are an idiot," to a VP of marketing of a telecommunications company responded with, "This is without doubt the greatest marketing ploy I've ever seen. I wish it was a great marketing ploy, but the big reality there is our referrals, because the email was about referrals, and the only thing in the email that actually did work was the link to our referral referral page on our website, um, our referrals over the next quarter skyrocketed. And so here's what I'll say. The good news is most of those errors can be easily rectified now through technology that I didn't necessarily have at my fingertips. But please keep it personal, keep it real. If you do those things, people will open it, people engage it, and don't ever be scared. If you just whatever you're thinking, just do it. Just do it.
Yeah.
It'll be okay, no matter how bad or good it is.
Yeah, yeah. That's amazing. I love that story. That is marketing genius. And doing something is a lot better than doing nothing, you
Yes,
know? And this
absolutely.
this really proves it. And people get it. People understand that you make a mistake and they'll probably laugh about it with you. So that's a great story. So let's get into smart automation. And this is a really important piece because, a lot of this obviously you can do manually, right? And you can kind of slap some tools together and try to, make it work. But where it really, shines is if you have the right tools in place in order to make this easy on your team, on your agency, because anything super hard, people are probably not going to be willing to do consistently. So, Joel, take us through what is smart automation and the difference between automation and, quotation marks automation.
Yeah. So I think I'll tie in the word integration because that's a word that's been thrown around far too easily. And so I think if we want to define smart automation, we need to define integration. So integration is really just getting data from one place to another. We make it really easy. Others do it as well, maybe not as good. That's my biased opinion. But at the end of the day, it's really integration is just getting data from one place to another. What automation is what you do with that data. And that's what smart automation is. A properly functioning solution can actually leverage the data that's coming in and make things happen, i.e., onboarding and welcoming a new client, which sounds really easy, but I think we all know it's not. When you're grabbing data from an agency management system and you're identifying someone that's a potentially new client, well, we all know that there's reinstatements, replacements, policy rewrites. Goodness knows, renewals download is new all the time. So having smart automation, a solution that can identify that this is in fact a true blue new customer, or this person is in fact still renewing, is what's going to truly make things automate. Meeting with someone on a quarterly basis is not automation. That's restarting things that you started 3 months ago to do it again. That's not automation. Automation is the ability to set it and forget it. Autopilot, maybe check in to see how it's doing, but if you forget it exists, it will run autonomously until you tell it not to.
Yeah, and that's what creates that efficiency, right? And then it
Exactly.
creates the consistency of doing those things so that you could build those relationships in a much easier way and let your staff focus on the things that really matter, that human connection
You
when
bet.
it's necessary. All right, so now let's talk about automation powered by AI because AI is a really big deal these days, and I know some of our agency clients are a little nervous to use AI. What's your thought on that, Joel?
So AI is incredibly powerful, and it's certainly been in use. We have talked about it for a long time here at Agency Revolution. I'm going to throw it there. We may be one of the first to talk about it, but any of our clients know that we've started to roll out real use of it. Certainly over the last quarter, 2 quarters, where we're putting it in your fingertips, that truly not only make a difference in who and what gets your communication, how they get it, and your ability to create it, and ensuring people's ability to understand why they may or may not want to give a piece of communication, but not eliminate themselves from all sorts of other great communication they should get. So, AI is not something you just want to haphazardly use, but certainly should be used and used effectively in conjunction with the right solutions.
And where it really makes a big difference is AI that's built into the tool that actually has the context of you being an independent
Yeah,
insurance agency. That's a really big difference, right? Because you can tie into any AI system, Chat GPT, whatever, and just sort of have this generic version. But every single time that you create a prompt for AI to spit something out to you, a piece of content, whatever, you have to continue to provide it context to tell it, I'm an independent insurance agency. This is what I'm about. This is what you can say. This is what you shouldn't say. Um, where there's a ton more impact is if there's a solution with that AI component built in that actually has the context of the insurance industry. already built into it. All right, so what we're going to do next is just show you a quick demo, and then there's that surprise. Don't forget the surprise because you shouldn't leave before the surprise happens. So we're going to do a live demo, but before we get into that, I don't know. If you don't love Joel, I don't know what to say because he's one of our best. He is, he definitely represents the insurance evangelist name very well. So if you want to talk to him or any of our other account executives, you want a personalized demo of Fuse Marketing Automation, I'm going to throw up a quick poll. And if you're an existing client, there's an option there for you too. If you're an existing Fuse client and could use a refresher, select that option. But if you're not a client currently and want to learn a little bit more about Fuse, want to have a one-on-one consultation with Joel or one of our account executives, please select that option as well, and we'll definitely give you a good spin of the system. I'm going to leave
And
this
for
up
those
for
of
10
you
more seconds.
voting no, thank you. That is the very Canadian way to say no. So the thank you part is really critical.
It,
So
it has to happen. The no, thank you.
it's okay. So that's
Let's see if we can get 100% participation. For those of you that are on, which is quite a bit, I'm going to give you a few more seconds before we get into the live demo, and this will be a quick one with that surprise at the end, but it'll definitely be worth it. So I'm going to give it 10 more seconds. For those of you that have not voted, if you can give us a vote, I would appreciate it. And let's go. Oh, good, good, good. Keep it going, keep it going. We're almost there. 60%. Can we get a few more in there? I'm going to leave this up, Joel, while you go into the demo in case anybody else wants to vote on this.
all right. I
I'm
think
going to stop
if I replace
sharing.
your screen, I was going to say if I replace your screen share, the poll should stay up here. Hold on, I'm going to share my screen
It
here, get the right
should.
one. So
Yeah, I
there
think
we
it's
go.
going.
So now I'm in here, and we'll leave the poll up and keep answering and this type of thing. So for those of you that hopefully I believe you can see my screen now, it's tell me you're seeing my screen now.
We
So
can see it. Yep.
this is the Agency Revolution workspace. So we'll get into all the things that we just spoke about. So but just FYI, what's the beautiful thing about if you're a Forge and Fuse client or social media add-on or pipeline texting, whatever you're using, it's all found here in one place, which is incredibly exciting. But when it comes to client retention and communication, I I'm just envisioning myself in your office right now, and I can see your office, and I'll bet you it looks similar to my old office where it has four corners and a door. You might even have a window, but one of those corners is a place where all your great ideas and things you're supposed to do go to die. And so I was like, "There's my corner. There's all my welcome, my client onboarding, my welcoming, my customer surveys, and my cross sell stuff I was supposed to send because." I forgot to do it. And not that I didn't want to do it, but I forgot to do it. And so, realistically, leveraging smart automation to do these types of things is rather critical. So, I've just gone here to our campaign section. This is the automation section. And so, generally speaking, when we say we integrate with your management system, what that means is there's nothing you or anybody needs to do on a daily basis to make it happen. There's no training your staff on another portal or platform to make these things happen. There's no double entry, no maintaining secondary databases. This solution just watches what's going on and makes these things happen. And so a lot of these things we've shared to a certain extent. Nurturing prospects wasn't necessarily touched on, but onboarding clients, welcoming new clients, account reviews. So yes, there is the communication element of that, but actually for us, there's more than just communication. It's the gathering of information. So we have the ability we have all sorts of questionnaires and forms pre-created. They're all completely customizable, so we can help gather the information. And account reviews refer to the overall count. Renewal review is line of business or policy specific. And quite frankly, we can do either or. So depending what you need at a very granular policy or carrier level, to the overall account level to help you gather the information you need to update an account or get a renewal issued. Boy, this is my favorite thing to say in the world, and it is true. And this is one of those flags I'll drive in the ground and stand on any stage in any webinar and argue. I've yet to see an agency that didn't have an absolute acre of diamond sitting right in front of them. And so you can, really the only difference is whether you're honest about that or you need me to prove it to you. So, um, the ability to blast out a hey by this you can is certainly capable here. we would suggest a more strategic, automated walkthrough for people, whether it's personal lines or commercial lines, rounding people out from 1 to 2 to 3, 4, 5 policies. It's a long held statistic in this industry, and it is true. If someone has one policy with you, they renew it somewhere around the mid 70s. If they have two, it's high 80s, low 90s. If they have three policies with you, throw away the key. They're not going anywhere. And so that is the goal. And the industry average is somewhere around 1.62 policies per client. I am John Q. Nobody. Okay. My wife and I have 5 or 6 policies. So if my agent only has 2 policies, they are missing the boat. My agent has 5 with me. FYI, good job. NPS, so that net promoter score. I saw someone ask what NPS is, and I appreciate everybody jumping in to let them know. Net promoter score looks like a customer satisfaction survey, and it certainly is, but it's really the byproducts that really should get you excited. Things like a growth and positive Google reviews, but deeper than that, the solution has the ability to start comparing the results from the survey in conjunction with what's going on in the management system to identify people that are very likely to buy more now, people that are going to say yes now, and or people that could potentially be a retention risk. We talked about lost customer winbacks, incredibly underused campaign automation that every agency should have in place to welcome and target and invite those people back. Because one thing I can assure you, while they may have left for some greener pasture, no one's going to communicate and nurture them like you are, even after they left. Other automations here, things like birthdays. I just don't have launched in my demo account. Birthdays, monthly newsletter, nurturing claims. The core of this solution in this section, if this was your account with us, all of these things are A, completely automatic, not a thing you or anybody needs to do to make them happen. Number 2, they all are and can be multi-stepped, and I'll show you that quickly. But the third and really the most critical piece is each and every outbound communication is personalized for that individual that's receiving it. We have this strange view that if you're going to send it, it should be open and engaged with, or what's the point? So we do, in fact, maintain the highest open rates, highest engagement in the industry for ability to personalize a piece of communication. So let's jump in quickly and see how a campaign can work. So I'll jump in and I'll give a tip of the cap to our content team. They're constantly creating great content, staying on top of things. So whether it is just one-off communications or multi-step campaigns, we have them always creating more and more for you. We can scroll up and down here for days, back and forth for days. Anything with a green tab has a form or questionnaire pre-created for you, so you don't have to. They're all completely customizable, and so we'll just grab one here and take a walk quickly through what a campaign or an automation can and should look like for your agency. So regardless of what we're talking about, the first thing we need to do is target a specific group of people. The 4 keys to high open rates: relevant, timely, personalized, from someone they trust. We need to keep those in mind, and here's how we keep it relevant. Targeting a specific group of people. When we talk about automation, there's 2 core ways we automate. This is an example of automating based on people fitting a criteria. So if they fit the criteria above, in they go. If they no longer fit the criteria, out they go. No one needs to remember to do it. The second way we automate is based on a trigger, and a trigger is a key event in the life cycle of a client. I'm a new customer. I've had a claim. I've renewed. These are specific events where you want something to happen, and so we can absolutely trigger communication based on that. So once we know the event, what do you want to have happen? Let's put the steps in play. In this example, we're going to shoot a text message. Day later, team that with an email. About 60 days prior to renewal, we'll send another email. Everything, we have them pre-built. We have a pretty good working knowledge on what's going on here. 25 plus years of working with y'all. But hey, we know you're not a cookie cutter. So everything here is completely customizable. So you prefer to have this communication go at 90 days, then great, let's do it at 90 days. You want to add more steps, let's do it. You want to send a good old-fashioned postcard, let's do it. You want to add more texting, you want to add more emailing, you want to drop somebody into a formal pipeline, we have that as well. Drop them in. So really, quite simply, it's what's the situation? What do you want to have happen? We put those steps in play. Once we click launch, this runs completely autonomously in the background. Now, when it comes to the communications themselves, those 4 key points, here's where we find those other 3 is, remember, relevant, we've segmented, timely. That's why we use triggers and timing steps, so everything is perfectly timed. Number 3, it needs to come from someone they trust. So we can see within your management system who the account rep is, who the producer is, another specific employee. So we mirror your email addresses so it looks and feels like it's actually coming from that person. and we'll ensure that it gets delivered because we don't do silly things like use your server. Okay, that's not how you get high deliverability. You need a strategic plan to do that, and there's technical ways we do that. But one of those is mirroring your specific employees so it looks and feels like it's coming from them. For those applied Epic users, kind of an exciting moment. We map to all servicing roles, so you can choose very specifically who you want any given communication to come from. Finally, you got to personalize a piece of communication. Mail merging someone's first name doesn't cut it. That's not personalization. We have the unique ability to mail merge virtually any field we're bringing in from the management system. First name, last name, town they live in, birth date, or as a quick example, if I click policies over here on the left, it'll actually bring in a list of all this person's active policies. So now, when this goes out, it is in fact truly responsive. So whether it lands in a traditional inbox or a smartphone, it's going to look and feel the way you want it to. It's personalized for that individual. We'll make sure your email signatures look a lot better than mine. There's a few of you that may want to use my picture. You're welcome to do so. Sorry, that's my joke. You'll see that start your review. So we're checking E&O boxes. We're streamlining operations, data, collecting some data there for you. So you can certainly do that. But the summary of this story is you don't have to do all of these. Okay. I know we just shared everything. It can be a lot. You might find it overwhelming, but there's some you should be. Take them off, take it out of the hands of your staff. Ensure your clients are getting what they want. Whether it's onboarding, a couple cross-sell, maybe an account review to check the E&O boxes and gather that information digitally, put those in place and let them run so you and your team can really focus on things that matter most. I will touch quickly on NPS because we reference that. So we want to facilitate more and better communication. Your clients want and expect it. Okay, people want more from you. That is true. You don't have time, but we need ways to evaluate it and what's going on. And reputation management and NPS is truly one of the great ways to do that. So if you don't know, it's a customer satisfaction survey. The problem with NPS is most solutions do it too much. We're not a big box store. We're not a restaurant. You shouldn't be doing this 3, 4, 5 times a year. That is too much. Realistically, once, no more than twice a year, surveying your clients throughout the year, asking them to rate you on this scale of 0 to 10. Those that rate you 0 to 6 are detractors, 8s and 7s are neutral or passive, 9s and 10s are promoters. We wash that out and you get an NPS number. Congratulations. Do with it as you please. That's your number. We can break it down at an agency level, branch level, or an individual producer level, so you can do some internal comparisons. But what we really want are the analytics that come from that. And so what we know is when someone rates you highly, they'll do more. And one of those mores is they'll leave you an online review. So we make it easy for them to do so. Agencies using this see a nice uptick in positive Google reviews. Deeper than that, as I referenced, this is the real power. It's where we start combining information because these people will in fact buy more, stay longer, and refer more. So here, the gold or yellow circle is what the client has said. The other information is coming from your management system. So we can see that this client loves you, been with you a long time. They're also monoline. They'll buy more. All you got to do is ask. All of these people will refer more. Ask them. They're going to refer 2.5 times more than anyone else. On the flip side, understanding your detractors, greatest opportunity in an agency. You heard me say it earlier. Here it is, understanding who they are. Maybe Maurice here isn't all that happy because he thinks he's overpaying, but he's monoline. Add a second line of business, he's a happy camper. Maybe these folks need to be referred to your favorite neighborhood competitor. Maybe you thought you had a great relationship here and you don't. You want to reach out and rekindle that relationship. So that is a really quick demo of some of the things that we talked about. I don't want to overwhelm. We're getting close to the end of our time, but this is what we're talking about, putting quality automations in place so you don't have to remember to do it, yet you're not going to lose the personal touch. You're going to get the feedback that you're looking for. It's going to help you grow your business. I promised 2 gifts. One gift, but I'm going to give you 2. Number 1, I'm going to do something you should never do, and that's call out an online troll. And so I noticed on our LinkedIn post that someone had to say, you can't, that's ridiculous. You cannot double the size of your agency through increased retention. I'm not going to mention your name, but feel free, friend, to connect with me anytime, and I'll gladly have this discussion. You want proof? You can find it right at the industry leader, agencyrevolution.com. Go to resources and follow the growth analyzer. Facts. Typical agency. Put in whatever size you want. Here's your retention. The typical agency growing along, bringing new clients. Here it is. I changed nothing but increased retention by 5%. I've left new client growth the same. Revenue per client I've increased because when you're proactively communicating and you're asking, you're better, Building better relationships, you will in fact sell more to those people. So a modest 10% increase in retention and revenue per client is modest. Here it is. In 5 years' time, you've doubled the value of your agency. So, friend, anytime, anywhere. Now the gift to the rest of you.
I think you won that battle,
I
Joel.
did. And so here's my gift to you. The I've always maintained that the core of agency revolution is a necessity for every agency. Quality digital presence, automating effective communication. We've talked about AI. We have released many add-ons over the years, which are powerful tools. We released one recently, and this is my gift to you. I said I was going to take ownership of it. It has nothing to do with me, but it is maybe one of the single most powerful things you can do for an agency, and that is original content on your website, more specifically blog. But if you're like me, you don't have time, you don't have the expertise, well, you have the expertise, you don't have the time, and you're not a creative writer. So we've done it for you. So if you're a website client, Forge website client, you have access to this. Go to the website tab, click content, blog, or you can come down here to the AI assistant and ask where to find first draft. Click add a blog post, use first draft. Put in whatever topic you want to write about. And if you don't know what to write about, ask everybody in your office what the commonly asked questions they get.
Okay, so can we get some shout outs? Can you guys give us some ideas on what you want this blog to be about in the chat?
I'm going
Premium
completely original.
increases.
Premium
All
increase.
right. Premium increases, frozen pipes. We've got you pick it, Joel.
Short, medium, long. How do you want it? I want it casual. I want it excited. Generate. In 10 seconds, you're going to have original piece of content here for your agency website. Once this populates, like I said, it takes about 10 seconds. You're going to click use as a draft, and then it will save. You can add a picture. You can grab from our image library. You can upload your own image, whatever you want, and then simply click publish to your website. This solution takes care of all the good SEO, Google, whatnot for you. So you don't have to. I'm not an expert in that either. It will take care of it for you. You publish post. Now you're publishing original content on an ongoing basis. If you do this 2 minutes once a week, publish to your website, I will assure you your SEO will go through the roof over the course of 6 months to the year, and this will last you forever. Do this. This is intelligent, industry specific AI built for you and your agency. If you're not a client, you need it. If you are a client, you already have it. Use it.
And Joel gave it a very simple prompt, but like you could say, I want this blog article to be optimized for SEO for this specific keyword in this physical location. So, if you're doing it for SEO purposes, right? If you want to use the blogging option for SEO purposes, you can tell this tool that's what you're looking for, and it'll cater the content towards that. If you want it to be more educational, and more for relationship building, that's a little bit of a different strategy. So tell it that feedback as well. So
So,
it's very
Monika, I'm also going
customizable.
to share, I'm going to interrupt because
Yes.
I know we want to stay around. I know there's questions, collect them, entertain them. Everybody knows at 2 p.m. Eastern, I have to run to the bus stop. And so it is in fact almost time for me to run to the bus stop. So I appreciate everybody on here. Monika, I think is going to hang out. But I'm going to run to the bus stop because my youngest son needs me there to get him off the bus. And so I appreciate everybody's time. Any questions, field them to Monika. If you got them for me, she'll forward them on. But I don't want you to think I'm leaving everybody hanging. I know this is moderately unprofessional to run off like this, but quite
He warned me
frankly,
about it. It's okay. I knew it.
if you're not worried about my kids, then I can't help you. So
That's right.
I'm
That's right.
jumping.
That's fine. Go jump, Joel. I'll handle the questions. Don't worry. All right, guys. So let's take a look at your questions and see what I can answer. I don't see any in the Q&A, but I believe there were some in the chat. So I'll try to answer them as best as I can. Phyllis had to run to a meeting too, so you totally get what he's going through. All right. Is this available on Attract? Albert wants to know. Albert, no, this is a feature that's available on Fuse and on the Forge website platform. If you currently have Attract, you can talk to our team and we could look at options to have you migrate from your Attract website to the Forge website platform. What else? What other questions do we have? Are websites still relevant? Yes, Phyllis, websites are definitely still relevant. If not for anything other than it's a credibility indicator. One of the things that, is very um, definitely is a definite fact is that most consumers, before they buy anything, they research that thing or that company online first. In fact, about 80% of consumers do this. So if you don't have a digital presence, a good website that tells the person about your agency, what services or products you offer, how you handle service and support. If you don't have a good reputation online, that is going to impact your ability to do business with those people that are very much into researching first before they make a decision to actually come talk to your agency. Even if your agency is based on just referral business, having a website is a credibility indicator, right? So somebody's going to still check you out, even if their friend told them to call you, they're still probably going to check you out to see what you're all about before they pick up that phone. Um, Let's see, what else do we have here? If we have Fuse through Renaissance, can we do DIFM? Marie, I am not sure. That's something that, if you wouldn't mind emailing our support team at agencyrevolution.com, we can take a look at that for you. Renaissance, that partnership, we have a little bit of a different setup with them, so I don't want to give you the wrong answer for that one. How often to send clients whatever campaign you promote? Heidi, I'm not sure what you're asking here, but with any of the communication that you're sending clients, you obviously want to look at the different trigger points and you want to make sure that that communication is somewhat staggered. When you're working with our team, when we're going through the onboarding process, we take into consideration all of the things that we have set up for you and what the timing of those things is to make sure that there's not too much conflict. But like Joel said, over the course of the year, maybe you're sending out 10 to 15 pieces of content to each contact. So, I wouldn't be too concerned about overwhelming your clients. If you're sending them good information, whether it's educational or, a holiday or birthday greeting or supporting them through a claim event, they're going to want to get that communication from you, even if they get multiple things in a week, so just make sure that you focus on adding value. And I think the rest will kind of take care of itself. Uh, let's see, what else do we have? Any other questions before we wrap up? Because we're a little bit over time. I left up this slide for you, so assuming you could see it, but if you do want to talk to us, I know those of you who filled out the poll, we will have Joel reach out to you to schedule something so that you could have a one-on-one demo of Fuse. But for the rest of you, if you're interested in learning a little bit more about Fuse before you, want to explore one-on-one with Joel, then you can just scan this QR code. Just take your phone, open up the camera, kind of put it in front of it, and you'll see a link generate that you can click on, and that'll lead you to our website so that you could explore a little bit more there. If you're an existing client and just need some help navigating Fuse or any of our other products, feel free to reach out to us at team@agencyrevolution.com. And with that, I think we are all set. I don't see any other questions. And if I missed any, please feel free to email us and we will get back to you with an answer. I thank you all for joining us. Thanks to Joel for being my guest host. I think he did a really great job. Hope you all agree. Hope you came away with some good nuggets of information around driving client retention. And I look forward to seeing you on the next webinar. Take care.